This section is going to focus on the second data review meeting, the support planning data review. I again want to refer back to our data displays guide. As I mentioned in prior sections, there are several different implementations of the MTSS framework down the left-hand side of this chart. The names you see in bold are the names we've used in setting up Ion for your teams. Across the top are 3 data reviews which are critical to the MTSS process. The body of the chart details which data are available for each of these reviews in each system. The second data review is the support planning data review. We can see that we'll be looking at a list of students with their related data and risk factors. For academic implementations, you'll see interim assessments or universal screeners. When working on secondary success, you'll see grades in core classes, the numbers of D's and F's the student has received in that grading period, as well as a grade risk calculated on the numbers of D's and F's as seen here. Depending on the initiative and the training your team has received, the support planning review can take on several different names. Your teams might know it as an intervention placement, student talks, the plan part of the plan, do, study, act cycle, or a 20% meeting. In the documentation, we've attempted to call out all these different names as well as to link to some resources for each. The support planning review is the time to look at the individual support students need and should occur at regular intervals throughout the school year as soon as possible after data comes available, often around the same time as your Tier 1 core data review. In Ion, the support planning data review is facilitated through the data walls, found by clicking on the blue chart button in the top left. We've done quite a bit of work of making the information you want to use for each type of meeting easy to access in both the dashboards and the data walls. You'll find this structure looks identical whether you choose dashboards or data walls. All the predefined walls that we've created are under school walls. Here you will find the walls that relate to the different implementations of the MTSS framework that might be happening within your schools. These folder names align with the bolded name in the left column of our Ion data displays chart. I'm going to click on academics, where I know I'll find my interim assessments and universal screener data. Each grade level then has their own data wall to review. I'm going to start by looking at the first grade data with the first grade team. The first grade data wall presents me with the entire first grade as well as their fall, winter, and spring scores on our interim assessments. This team has also included attendance and behavior so they have context as they look at their students' data. Each data point is color-coded, green, yellow, and red, based on the assessment's benchmark definitions. We've also added some little star icons in case colors don't work for all members of your team or when you print. Full stars for green, empty stars for red, no stars for yellow. We also have a number of tools at our disposal as we review data. First, we can sort our list by clicking on a header. Clicking once, my list is sorted from low to high on winter math scores. If I click a second time, it's now sorted from high to low. If I scroll down to the bottom, I can see the color bands for red, yellow, and green at the bottom of each column. Tell me how many students are in those color bands for that column. In my winter math column, I can see I have 13 students in the red zone who are at risk. But the trick is identifying what support to provide to these students. If I scroll back up the list, I find that 159 and below seems to be the red zone for this test. Just underneath the heading is a thin gray line. If I put my mouse over it, I can filter this column. Let me do that again. It's this thin line right here. When I hover over it, I can enter a simple filter. Show me the students less than 159. Now I'm seeing only the students who are in the red zone currently. And now I can sort based on their most recent reading scores. What I discover is that a number of these students are in the red zone for math and for reading. If I've got limited time and resources to provide supports to these students, I may want to focus first on reading supports for these students. As I scroll down, a number of these students have made big growth from the red to the yellow zone in reading over the last several months. Because of the growth on their reading, we may now be more comfortable placing them into a math support. Also, as we're looking at students, if we need any additional information on a student, we can click on this blue graph button and we'll get access to his information. We can see a full history of his assessment scores, attendance, behavior, and grades. And we also have the ability to enter notes right here on the student. I'm going to go ahead and start a group support for these students. I can select the students for the group. So let's pick these here. Then click on the green plus and choose Intervention Group to begin setting up a support plan. I'm going to name this group my first grade decoding group based on the support I'm going to be giving them. On this screen, I can now choose the intervention. You'll notice that there is academic, behavior, and social emotional as choices, and this list is customized for what's available in your district. I'm going to choose Read Naturally, and then I'm going to assign this group to myself. I will be the person responsible for giving these students their support. These students are currently in my Tier 2, and we're going to meet to work on Read Naturally for 15 minutes every day. Starting February 6, 2020 for the next 16 weeks. We're going to check on their skill development every Friday. And then I'll click Add Skill. And we can say that we're going to check on oral reading fluency using our Easy CBM passage reading fluency measure, and click Save. In the top right, it's now brought up the list of students in my group. If I want to add a student to this group, I can simply search for the student's last name here and select it to add that student. I can also remove a student by clicking this little trash can. I then confirm that I want to monitor each of these students on oral reading fluency in the first grade and starting on February 6th. If I wanted to monitor students below grade level, this is my opportunity to change that. Save, save, save. And we're done. At this point, we can navigate back to our data wall by going to the blue chart button in the top left or pressing back on our web browser and select students for another support. Or we can navigate back to the home page by clicking on the Ion logo. And you'll see that our support now appears in the intervention groups on the right-hand side. It shows up here for me as a school-wide user, but also because I put myself down as the person who would be providing the support to students. In the next section of the video, we'll look at how to check in interventions and collect data.